There are two types of loop in VHDL, the for loop and the while loop. The names of this loop should be familiar from your experience with computer programming languages. The purpose of loop construct is to allow some coding instruction to happen in iterative way, I mean over and over again. If you know the number of instructions the loop requires, you should use the for loop. The while loop should be used when you don't know the number of iterations the loop needs to perform. The syntax of for loop statement is an optional label, the keyword for, and range definition, then the keyword loop, and the loop statement. The loop statement is closed with end loop keyword and label. The syntax of while loop statement is very similar to the syntax of the for statement. Instead of range expression, there is a condition, and the loop iterates until the condition is true. Let's see some example of a for loop statement. This example implements a behavior call of FIR filter. The statement iterates 11 times and accumulates the value of a multiplication of a xi by hi in the ACC variable. This code can be used as test bench. It is not efficient design to be implemented in Silicon. In Advanced DSP VHDL course will be presented some efficient hardware architecture that can be used to implement FIR filter in FPGA or ASIC. This second example implements a simply parity checker. This VHDL code could be implemented in hardware. In this example, we have introduced the attribute length. This attribute returns the length of the dimension of x. In this example, x is declared as a standard logic vector 7 down to 0. The length attribute returns the value of 8. This last code gives an example of square vector. The loop variable is multiplied by itself and stored in an integer array. You should notice that in the first two examples, we used a variable to store the temporary value of an accumulation and parity, while in the last example, square is a signal. Here we have a variable and variable. Do you think it is possible to use signal for ACC and PAR object? Press stop and take your time to answer. Do you find an answer? If your answer is no, you did give the correct answer. It is not possible to use signal in the first two examples. If you remember the lesson that introduced the process, we stated that the signal assignment is scheduled and the signal takes only the last value assigned. Variable is not scheduled and take the value assigned immediately, like a classical programming languages. You can use variable in the last example if you want. In fact, in the last example we assigned the square value to an array of integer. In the last example, each location of the array is assigned once. The same thing occurs if you use a variable. Reading from file is the classical example of a loop statement. In the example, the loop is performed until the end of file is reached. This second example implements the square example view before implemented with the for statement using while construct. In this case, you shall declare the index I as variable. In the for implementation, the index I was implicitly declared. Exit and next statement are used in the iterative statement to modify the code flow. If we want to jump out the current executing loop and go to the statement following the loop statement, VHDL allows us using the exit statement. If we want to stop executing the statement sequence at a certain index of the current iteration and go to the next index, VHDL allows using the next statement. In this code, when the loop reaches the iteration number 11, the exit statement breaks the loop's iteration and exit. This code is equivalent to the previous one, where the condition is evaluated using the if statement. The loop label is optional. It is useful in nested loop. In this example, the index number 5 is not computed. When the loop iteration reaches the index number 10, the iteration stops. Both next and exit statement could be useful in test bench. I suggest to not implementing hardware design on silicon using this statement, even if are both synthesizable. Pay attention and verify the post-layout netlist if you decide to use exit or next statement.